right, Hun Reloaded running their invincible setup.
Yeah, they sure like those Vargers. I was a little worried, though, when I first saw that Sleipnir go all the way into structure, and then he essentially structure tank, not really structure tank, but he had like no structure left for like a full minute. I think that's what kept him alive in the game, but I was worried for a second. In the end.
No, if there had just been like one more cycle of fire on on that Sleipnir, he would have easily dropped, and that would have changed the whole match, because they were shooting at him for they should have switched earlier knowing that he would survive, but you can't have that forethought during the match. He looked like he was going to die just until the point he lived.
Yeah.
So how do you beat this this Vargar setup? It seems like they're not going to change it up. It seems like this might be the setup that they're comfortable with, and they don't really feel like people can beat it. I mean, they've run it, 7 matches in a row now?
I would think that ECM would be strong against it, but I'm trying to think if they've run into any ECM teams yet. I think they have ECCM on those Vargars, but they have such a low sensor strength. I don't know.
I think that it's once they go up against a team where they feel like that team knows 100% how to beat the Vargars, and it gets closer to the final, they're going to switch to something that they haven't shown before. Yeah. Because like you can't. There's really not a team that's strong against everything, and it's just like the best team. Because obviously all these other teams have seen this because they've used it since the very first fight. So they've all said, oh, is this good, and tested it. And they've all concluded that it's obviously not the best setup that they can pick.
I don't know. Maybe other people haven't really tested much against the Vargars because one would assume they wouldn't bring the same setup over and over and over again. Yet they are, and it's working for them.
It's working. And next round they're fighting either PL or Darkside, which has to be the test. If they bring it next match, I think that's a sign that they're going to bring it the rest of the tournament. Like if you're so comfortable that you think you can beat PL or Darkside with a predictable setup, there's no reason to switch it.
I don't think they bring it next match, frankly. I really don't feel like they do.
I mean, one thing I was thinking of when I saw the Shadow Cartel match and they lost there, it's
Shadow Cartel.
Yeah. If you get in a place where you feel really good at one type of setup and you leave that comfort zone and try to fly a different setup, you just won't fly it as well, and you could really be hurting yourself if you move out of it.
I think the only way we would see Vargars in their next match is if they have like an alternate fit in which they alter some of the support, but changes the entire dynamic of the setup, so that the other team sees 2 Vargars and says, we know what this is, but then it turns out to be something entirely different.
I think Hun Reloaded are going to bring it, and just before we go to the commentators, because they have we have a quick few questions for the commentators from Sunset. Just before we do that, though, how much do you want to bet that they're going to show up? What do you want to bet? Because I think they're going to bring it. They're going to bring the Vargars next.
Well, I don't want to bet against them not bringing the Vargars. I'll say that if they do bring the Vargars, they lose. And I'll bet if somebody wants to go around and get a razor, I'll bet this mustache.
I'll take that bet, sir.
That if they bring the Vargars, that they will lose.
Oh.
I can't wait for this.
But you are expecting them to bring Vargars.
No, but if they do bring the Vargars, they will pay for it and lose.
All right, we'll need to figure out
the
details.
But what do I get from you? What do I get from you? Do I get your polo?
A hug or something.
Do I get your polo?
No. Not my polo. Anyway, let's go to Sunset in the commentary booth and see what she's up to.
Hi, I'm CCP Sunset, back in the commentary booth with Ravy and Kill2. Kill2 desperately trying to get a sneak peek at what's coming up in the next match.
Yeah, but we have PL Darkside on the field, so it's hard to think about other stuff. No spoilers, let's do it.
No spoilers, no spoilers. We've seen logistics be completely pivotal in a lot of games. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Logistics cruisers are Tech 2 cruisers that have a bonus to being able to remote rep the other ships on their team. They have big bonuses to the range, which is probably the most valuable bonus they get. They can go to like 75, 80 kilometers with their reps. And they also have bonuses to rep amount. So they are a huge part of all warfare and EVE really nowadays, unless you're in very small groups, in which case they're the bane of your existence.
I was going to say, when you don't have friends like me, logistics are a big problem, and they're not usually very helpful. But yeah, they're basically space healers. And in the tournament, you're only allowed one of them. So if you didn't know that, that's really important. On TQ, you often see them in groups because they're really good at supporting each other as well as supporting the fleet. But we limit them to only one in the tournament so that it kind of often becomes, like you said, a really pivotal part of a setup.
Yeah.
And a big decision in terms of
We're seeing them become less important because of the ASB, though. The ASB has allowed teams that don't have logistics to be much better than they were in the past and allowed teams that lose their logistics to keep going.
And how difficult is it to be the logistics pilot?
Very difficult. I'd say it's the highest skill position in the entire tournament fleet.
Why? Talk about why.
You have
this
to
is kind of
multitask a ton of things. You have to keep yourself alive. You have to keep out of the arena. You have to manage your range to all the different people on your team. You're the target of most of the enemy E-War. And you then have to switch targets back and forth as they switch targets to try to keep up with it.
Yeah, that's like the most basic thing about it is that they're actually able to actively make your job more difficult just by constantly switching targets, which doesn't happen in every match, but it is a tool that teams have, and that's just the beginning. Like you said, it's positionally one of the most difficult ships to fly, and positioning correctly is always hard. And a logistics ship is just kind of has to do that better in a lot of matches than anything else on the field, or it dies.
Yeah.
So to be a logistics pilot, you have to be on the ball constantly.
Yes. And we've been seeing small mistakes by logistics pilots end in teams knocking them right out of the tournament.
Okay.
High pressure.
Okay. I think we'll head back to CCP Soundwave in the studio, but we'll be back later to tell you about more exciting things that go on in the matches. So back to Soundwave.
Thank you very much. While you guys were talking Sastro, you looked extremely focused. Did you find something exciting on the internet?
I was posting, and I'm always focused on my posting. Whenever the camera turns away, I type a post.
Were you posting on Evo?
Yes, of course. I know it.
Is that Facebook?
Evo. No, that's
He was-
Twitter.
Oh,
So I'm checking our tweets live.
you were doing social media relations for,
I am.
for the
I
broadcast.
have to talk to all my haters out there.
It actually had nothing to do with the broadcast. He was just tweeting about
I knew it.
suits.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we need to figure out something to bet, but I am fairly certain that Hun Reloaded will bring this setup again.
I'm fairly certain that they either won't bring this up again, or if they do bring it, they will lose.
You can't pick both options. Like,
No. If they bring,
Make a stand, Michael Bolton.
do you think they will bring it?
Yes or no? Come on, wait on the line.
I think that if they do bring it, the support is significant. I'm very defensive. I
Yes
really
or no?
This
Yes or
mustache
no?
has literally grown on me.
All right. Well, anyway, we'll need to find out. All right. Well, let's talk more about the teams. So we've been doing the Wardex system. We've been doing a load of new UI. The new player experience is about to come out. What's in store next?
So, as you said, the new player experience, we are doing a streamlining of this, thanks to Michael Bolton for, helping with the wording of that. So we're doing streamlining of that. We're just trying to ease people into Eve. And going on from that, we have an entire team dedicated to basically building up the new player experience. It's not easy bringing people into Eve. You look at the Alliance tournament, it's pretty damn complex. And it's off-putting for a lot of people. But we want to draw them in. We want to make that easier. We don't have any solid plans on how to do that, but we are busy working on that.
I just want to throw this out there. One of the guests this morning, CCP Pro, he was talking about streaming. Eve is one of those games where you can lose ships a lot and you not even know why you're losing them, really. But if you watch a decent player play on a stream, and if he's good at talking about what he's doing, I think that could help new players a whole lot.
Yeah.
Yep, so that's not that specific example, but that's a really nice idea. But we're looking at trying to harness the community. That's one thing Eve has above most other MMOs, is we have a really strong community. Now, don't get me wrong, we're not nice all the time, but if we can harness that to use that to bring new people in and just...
I think the wikis that are out there have gotten a lot better over time. I learned everything I know about Eve from the Goonfleet wiki, which is also why I probably don't know too much about Eve. But
for a long time, that was like the only really good wiki. But now, we have our own, the CCP one.
Yeah.
It's really good. Test has a good wiki. Just, more information is out there than a few years ago.
We just want to harness the power that we have in the community to help bring
Yeah.
people in, get people into corps. Once they're into corps, they're involved in the social structure, they can get help whenever they need it. And it really, we've got numbers, it really boosts people staying with Eve.
absolutely, Eve is such a people, community-based game, unless you're Kill 2. Unless you're Kill 2.
Yeah, unless you're Kill 2. Yes.
It's nice to be able to have something that helps you put together all the basic pieces. Like when I started playing this game, many years ago, I tried a trial for 14 days, and the only way I could find out to go anywhere was to autopilot, because I didn't realize you could manually warp to stuff, because I just didn't follow that part in the tutorial.
Yeah.
So, that's the kind of thing where I feel like people are like, whatever, I'll go play Team Fortress and get hats or something like that.
So from my perspective, the tutorial just doesn't, the traditional tutorial structure just doesn't cut it for Eve. So we're looking at that and seeing how we have a learning structure in a non-linear game. It's interesting. We have a dedicated team. I'm highly involved with sorting that out and trying to push it forward.
Yep. And we're going to be talking a bit more about that, and also talking more about what is it called? You were just talking about it. I forgot it. You just mentioned it.
Tutorial?
Yes. Much more about that. Anyway, we're going to go to the PL versus Dark Side. Michael Bolton III, who's your bet, and you cannot pick both teams.
I'm going to go with PL Dark Side. PL. I'm going to go with PL.
Attaboy. Oh man, this match is going to go either way, but I'm betting with PL.
Actually, it's only going to go one way.
It could go either way. Sorry,
It's not, but it's not going to go either way.
Gentlemen.
I think I'm going to have to be contrary and go with Dark Side.
Might be right.
I think...
You may be crazy.
No, I have to go with PL for this one.